started with practical effects. Practical effects can be tracked back to 1890s, where CGI has been used since 1960. Smoke and mirrors are some of the earliest and effective practical effects that you see in movies today. Stop motion made first cartoons the way they are. Humpty Dumpty Circus back in 1898 was the first one, made from a bunch of little hand-drawn pictures, and then it's gone through fast. And it was the first one according to Guinness Book of World Records. Miniatures are another practical effect that have been effective. Back in 1900, a railway collision used two model trains to recreate a large-scale disaster. And it was really effective back in the day. Of course, you wouldn't see that now, but it was a start. And then great movies throughout history all use practical effects. Hit home with old classics the audience loves. Jaws, the shark revolutionized the film industry. First blockbuster to reach $100 million was compared to The Exorcist and the Chicago Sun-Times for the thriller. Star Wars old and new. Jabba the Hutt's pet Rancor was an 18-inch rod puppet. And Star Wars used baking soda as snow. Iconic scene where the Death Star explodes is practical. Took place in a parking lot using pyro and driving a truck at high speeds. Back to the Future used a 1/24th model of the DeLorean and rode, mixed with laser pointer strobes and flashlights. Peter Jackson used every trick in the book to make hobbits seem smaller than regular characters in The Lord of the Rings. He used forced perspective to give the illusion that regular people were much smaller than they actually were, or he used different sized props to add more realism. And of course, Jurassic Park, which we touched on, uses animatronics to create moving creatures people could interact with. For the Triceratops scene, they use an animatronic to move the beast throughout the entire scene.
Great movies now use practical effects. Inception, one of the most mind-bending of its time. The scene where they're in a hotel, it was all a set of rotators, and the actors fought while it was rotating in the hallway. Star Wars The Force Awakens. Many of the characters, like big creatures, they were actually people in suits. People know that it's real. Chewbacca in the old ones and new one, he was a person in a suit. R2-D2, C-3PO, they were all people in mechanical suits. In the new Avengers installment, they wanted to go for realism. In the movie, there was a big truck crashing through a gate at a compound. That was all practical effects using wires or animatronics to move the truck towards the gate, and the gate actually broke down. They built the gate and broke it down just for that scene. In a lot of the movie, they use wires connected to the actors to show that they were jumping that 20 feet in the air or falling out of 3-story buildings. Yeah, they actually fell out of a 3-story building. People know when practical effects are there. When practical effects are done poorly, people see that it is a crappy effect. But when practical effects are done good, they seem very real. With Star Wars, which has been an unavoidable part of American film culture, the movie revolutionized special effects in the movie industry. From using a Yoda